Good day, everybody. So we got a little bit of wrestling news here that's a little surprising to hear about, at least a little bit, but there's also a contradiction I kind of have to bring up here. But this is coming from NoDQ.com saying WWE Hall of Famer says he once failed a drug test in TNA, but quote-unquote, there was no discipline for it. So, courtesy of Aaron Rift, and once again, if you would like to read this for yourself, link will be in the description as always. In a video published to his YouTube channel, WWE Hall of Famer Devon Dudley commented on what drug testing was like during his time with TNA Wrestling. So here's his quote, saying that they were doing drug testing, but at the time the old TNA regime of TNA, not this new one, the old regime, they were testing, but they weren't really keeping up with it. Or they weren't hammering down like WWE would hammer it down. If you use drugs, you got suspended, you get fined, then you get booted out. I got a phone call from TNA that said, hey, you've tested positive for such and such. And I went, so what are you telling me? He's like, just don't do it again, okay? Click. And then, like, that's a surprise. You're saying TNA drug tested you and you failed it? I failed it once. There was no discipline for it. I thought there would be, but there wasn't. Like I said, if it was WWE, they would have. But again, this is the old regime of TNA, not the current TNA you see with Access TV. This was totally before Carlos Silva took over, way before me and the Dudley Boys and the Hardy Boys had the last table match. This was way before that. I believe this has to be from the video where he talks about taking performance-enhancing drugs and why he regrets it. So, I think there have been rumors before, like I remember the Smarkbusters here on YouTube made reference to that, saying like, oh, you could do drugs. I think maybe it had to do more with like Kurt Angle's state, because like he was on Percocets all the time to try to battle the pain because of what his body was going through. But it's like, it makes me wonder, like, I'd have to check back with, like, when Carlos Silva took over, because Devon is saying that he failed a drug test and there was, like, no repercussions, to where it's like, oh, anything can happen, they don't really follow up or do anything about it. But it's just like, I know Mr. Anderson would say differently, because I believe the story's gone around that he failed an on-the-spot drug test in TNA and then got fired. Like, I can't remember what year this was, but I think that was the reason why he suddenly departed from TNA when he did. And I think he said, like, there was a quote there saying that he went to an indie show and said, fuck TNA, and everything. So it's like, I think, like, it makes me wonder, like, when they finally had that change. Because, like, I don't know how long they've been on Access TV for, because, like, I've kind of lost interest with TNA after, like, the Aces and Eights stuff was dragging on a little bit, so, like, I don't know what TV network they're on, or when they changed, or, like, who's taken over, but it's just, like, I know at one point that changed because, like I said, Mr. Anderson being gone showed that eventually they did something about drug testing and everything. So it's like, it's a better, I think that's a better thing why companies should follow with at least WWE's method of doing it to try to keep people in line to hold that. Somebody's made a reference to this saying, like, you have that sword hanging over your head. It might have been Punk in that 2014 podcast saying that, hey, you have to let them know that it's like, hey, you're going to be punished if you get caught, like, and you fail a drug test and everything, and eventually there's going to lead to even more dire consequences instead of just being like, oh, don't do it again. Like, you have to give them a reason to get off of that and make them realize that, hey, your future is at stake because this is a problem. So it's just like, it's not surprising that the old TNA regime was saying that, but I'm at least glad that something changed as time went on. But let me know in the comments section below, or was anybody surprised that this was ever a thing in TNA? Because, like, again, I know that thing was still running rampant with Kurt Angle, like I just mentioned with that example about him still being on painkillers and everything to manage the pain and all that, and they weren't really doing anything about it. Eventually he got himself clean, which is awesome. But it's just like, thank goodness that changed. But just let me know y'all in the comment section below. And once again, if you'd like to see the source of this article, you can find that in the description. And I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for listening, folks. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, and good day, everybody.